We have some new information tonight about a heartbreaking story out of Covington. Police say a mother of three has sadly died from domestic violence. WREG's Raven Copeland spoke with the victim's loved one.
Picture this. It's a quiet Tuesday morning in Covington, Tennessee. The sun is barely up, and most people are still asleep in their beds. But at 6:40 a.m., someone makes a frantic 911 call. When officers arrive at a home on Price Street, they find something that will haunt this small community forever. A young woman, completely naked, lying unconscious in a backyard. Her head has visible trauma. She's barely clinging to life. That woman was 28-year-old Jonesha Robinson, a mother of three beautiful children who would never see their mom come home again. Before we dive into this heartbreaking case, if you're new to Shadow Crime, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss when we cover cases like these. These stories need to be told, and your support helps us keep shining a light on them. Now, let me tell you about Jonesha. She wasn't just another statistic or a headline. She was a real person with a real life. A 28-year-old woman trying to raise three kids in Covington, a small city in Tipton County, Tennessee. Imagine being a single mother, working hard every day, trying to give your children a better life. That was Jonesha. She had her whole life ahead of her. Her kids needed her. They depended on her. And in one violent moment, everything was taken away. That Tuesday morning started like any other for the neighbors on Price Street. It's a residential area, the kind of place where people know each other, where kids play outside, where you'd never expect something this brutal to happen. But evil doesn't send you a warning. It doesn't knock on your door and announce itself. It just shows up. When paramedics arrive at the scene, they rush Jonesha to the hospital, desperately trying to save her life. But the injuries to her head were too severe. She died from those injuries, leaving behind three children who would grow up without their mother. Three kids who would have to live with the knowledge that someone took her from them in the most violent way possible. Now here's where this case gets even more disturbing. The police didn't have to look far to find their suspect. They started doing what any good investigator does, talking to witnesses, checking surveillance cameras in the area, piecing together what happened in those early morning hours. And the picture that emerged was chilling. The man they zeroed in on was 33-year-old Arise Montel Macklin. When detectives brought him in for questioning, he didn't deny it. He actually admitted to having an altercation with Jonesha before her death. Think about that for a second. An altercation that ended with a woman dead, naked, and left in a backyard like she was nothing.
We have some new information tonight about a heartbreaking story out of Covington. Police say a mother of three has sadly died from domestic violence. WREG's Raven Copeland spoke with the victim's loved one after a 33-year-old man is arrested and charged with that crime.
It was just terrible. Just a terrible feeling. I couldn't even sleep at all last night. I ain't been able to sleep since it happened.
A man is behind bars tonight, and a family is mourning after Covington police say a woman was killed and her body was found unclothed in a backyard. Just before 7 a.m. Tuesday, officers made a heartbreaking discovery at a home in the 700 block of Price Street. An unconscious woman was found in the backyard with a traumatic head injury and rushed to the hospital where she died. Covington police say the victim was 28-year-old Jonesha Robinson, a mother of three children.
I just couldn't believe it, the way he left her, outside and stuff.
Investigators later interviewed 33-year-old Arise Macklin, who allegedly admitted he fought with the victim before she died. He was arrested and charged with aggravated domestic assault, second-degree murder, and evidence tampering.
I can just imagine how it was, because it was cold at night. It was real cold. And it was just sad, the way he left her.
A family member of the victim who did not want to be interviewed on camera tells WREG she was unaware of Robinson's relationship with the suspect. Your news leader has uncovered information about Macklin's criminal history. In April, he was arrested and charged with felony harassment for emailing death threats to the Davidson County criminal court clerk. Macklin allegedly told police he made the threats because he was denied a job opportunity for failing a background check. Turns out Macklin was convicted of aggravated assault in 2017 and misdemeanor assault in 2018 in Nashville. He's now being held on a $1 million bond in Tipton County for murder and faces new charges for violating his probation.
If you're going to go with anybody, please find out their backgrounds, Don't just start talking to somebody just because you want to and because you think they are right.
As the family awaits more answers about Robinson's cause of death, they're struggling to make sense of the mother's murder. Reporting for your news leader from Covington, Raven Copeland, WREG, News Channel 3.
By all means, if you or someone you know is suffering from domestic violence, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number is right there on your screen, 800-799-7233.
But wait, because this is where things get even darker. You know how sometimes when you hear about these cases, you wonder how could anyone do something like this? Well, when investigators started digging into Macklin's background, they found something that should make all of us angry. This man had been showing everyone exactly who he was for years, and the system just kept letting him walk free. Let me break down Macklin's criminal history for you, and I want you to really pay attention, because this is important. Back in 2017, he was convicted in Nashville for aggravated assault. That's not shoplifting or a minor offense. That's a serious violent crime. Then just a year later, in 2018, he was convicted again, this time for misdemeanor assault. So we're seeing a pattern here, right? Violence, aggression, hurting people. But it doesn't stop there. In 2020, he stole from his ex-girlfriend. Now think about what that tells us. This is someone who clearly has issues with women. Someone who has no problem victimizing people he's in relationships with. Then in 2021, his own daughter had to get an order of protection against him. Let that sink in for a moment. His own child was so afraid of him that she had to go to court and get legal protection. What kind of father does that? What kind of man makes his own daughter fear for her safety? And here's the part that really gets me. Just this past April, barely months before Jonesha's death, Macklin was arrested for emailing death threats to the Davidson County Criminal Court clerk. He was charged with making terroristic threats. Death threats to a court employee. This man was literally threatening to kill people, and somehow he was still out on the streets. You want to know what's even more infuriating? At the time he killed Jonesha, Macklin was on state probation for felony harassment. He was supposed to be monitored. He was supposed to be kept in check. But there he was, free to take another woman's life. How does that happen? How does someone with this kind of violent history, someone who threatens to kill people, someone whose own daughter is afraid of him, how does he keep getting chances to hurt more people? The police charged Macklin with aggravated domestic assault, second-degree murder, and tampering with evidence. That last charge is particularly telling. Tampering with evidence. What was he trying to hide? What was he trying to cover up? Now, let's talk about what actually happened that morning, because the details matter. The surveillance footage from cameras in the area told investigators a story. The witness statements painted a picture, and when you put it all together, you realize that Jonesha didn't just die. She fought. She went through something traumatic and terrifying in her final moments. The fact that she was found without clothes, the trauma to her head, the way she was left there, all points to something deeply disturbing. You have to wonder what was going through her mind in those final moments. Did she know this was it? Did she think about her 3 babies? Did she try to fight back, to survive, to get away? And what about Macklin? What kind of rage, what kind of darkness lives inside someone to do this to another human being? This wasn't a quick moment of anger. The evidence of head trauma, the state she was found in, this was prolonged. This was brutal. Here's something else I want you to think about. Macklin admitted to the altercation. He knew what he did, and yet, according to the charges, he still tried to tamper with evidence. That shows consciousness of guilt. That shows he knew exactly how wrong his actions were, and he tried to hide it anyway. There's a coldness to that, a calculation. This wasn't just a crime of passion. This was someone who hurt another person, and then tried to cover his tracks. The community of Covington is devastated. This is a small city where everybody knows everybody. When something like this happens, it sends shockwaves to the entire area. People are scared. They're angry. They're demanding answers about how someone with Macklin's history was free to do this. And honestly, those are questions that need answers. Jonesha's 3 children are now without their mother. They'll grow up with this trauma, with questions about why someone took their mom away from them. They'll have to process this loss for the rest of their lives. And for what? What was gained here? A woman is dead. 3 kids are motherless. A man will spend years, maybe decades, behind bars. Everybody loses. Everybody suffers. The investigation is ongoing, and authorities are asking anyone with information to contact the Covington Police Department Criminal Investigations Division. Because even though they have their suspect, even though Macklin admitted to the altercation, they need to build the strongest case possible. Jonesha deserves justice. Her children deserve justice. So let me ask you this, and I really want you to think about it. How many red flags does someone need to show before we actually protect potential victims? When someone has a history of violence against women, when their own child fears them, when they're making death threats, at what point do we say enough is enough? And here's another question that keeps me up at night. How many other Joneses are out there right now in relationships or situations with people who have shown these same warning signs? How many women are one bad day away from becoming another true crime story? This case should make us all uncomfortable because it exposes something broken in our system. It shows us that sometimes the signs are all there, the warnings are all there, and still tragedy strikes. If this case affected you, if it made you think, do me a favor, share this video. Let people know about Jonesha Robinson. Let people know her name, her story, and what happened to her. Subscribe to Shadow Crime if you haven't already, because we're going to keep covering these cases. Keep asking these hard questions, and keep demanding better. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. And most importantly, if you know someone in a dangerous relationship, if you see the warning signs, speak up. Don't wait until it's too late. Jonesha's children don't have that option anymore, but maybe you can help prevent the next family from going through this nightmare. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.